Just across the Mississippi River from downtown St. Louis, in the shadow of the iconic Gateway Arch, sits one of NASCAR's most unique and resurgent venues, Worldwide Technology Raceway. What began in the 1960s as a modest drag strip known as St. Louis Raceway Park has evolved into a premier multi-discipline motorsports complex. Through the decades of expansion from road courses to oval racing, the facility rose to national prominence before going dark in 2010. But it didn't stay that way for long. Local ownership led by Chris Francois brought the track back to life, ushering in a new era of investment and energy. Renamed Worldwide Technology Raceway, the venue returned to the national spotlight in 2022. The NASCAR Cup Series made its long-awaited debut at the 1.25 mile oval. And what a track it is. Often compared to Darlington Raceway and Phoenix Raceway, this egg-shaped oval is all about compromise. Turns 1 and 2 are tighter with more banking, while 3 and 4 are flatter and sweeping, forcing teams to balance speed, grip, and tire wear on every lap. It's a place where rhythm is everything and mistakes come at a premium. From short track routes to a modern Cup Series battleground, this place has tested some of the best, and tonight it adds another chapter. It's the ZeroX Strategy Series Gateway 150, and it's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the virtual Worldwide Technology Raceway. Yeah, we'll say it, at Gateway. Penultimate race of the season here, the ZeroX Strategy Series. Let's take a look here at the race details coming in to tonight. 125 laps. Actually, that's not accurate. It's 150 laps here tonight. My apologies on that one. We will double check that information here in just a moment. Yes, 150 laps the distance, 65% fuel. That's accurate. 2 sets of tires over the wall, no fast repairs, and 1 attempt at a green-white checkered finish. I think it is 125 laps. I'm losing it. It's fine. Happy St. Paddy's Day, everybody. We're getting ready to get this one underway. Practice just about wrapped up. About a minute to go. Let's take a look here at the fast times thus far. Fastest in the session, the one of Johnny DePasquale, followed up by Kerwin Marshall, Austin Walton, Jackson West, and Wesley Jeanette. Dustin in the chat already says, I love this track. Went last year. Tons of fun. Yeah, it looks like a fun place to check a race out. I'd love to get out there one of these years, but man, it looks awful hot there sometimes. Want to make note here in the timing tower, as has been the case throughout the latter stages of this season, championship contention drivers notated in the timing tower as a yellow number. Everybody else in the lime green color. So Johnny DePasquale, one of those championship contenders, will ultimately win this practice session. Just bragging rights available for that, but we're going to get right into our qualifying session now. Yeah, Dustin says race was in September, weather was perfect. All right, well, I can handle that. September's good. See who takes to the track first here to start their qualifying efforts. Looks like Jason Aranchak will roll out first. Or will he? Go to Wesley Jeanette. Looks like he's actually rolling here. Jeanette on the clock, down the back straightaway. Oh, Jeanette washes way up the racetrack, middle of 3 and 4. I don't know if he's just trying to dime into the corner there, try to get a better exit speed, maybe kind of targeting lap 2 as being his lap of record. But Austin Walton goes 32.67. Jeanette goes a 93. So we'll keep an eye here, see if that second lap is quicker. It's certainly not as fast as what we saw in practice. Ken Lowry goes to the top with a 44. Across the line, Jeanette finishes his qualifying effort. Where does it land him? And it's P1, 32.178. Big pickup for the 74. Puts him top of the board. Now Jason Aranchak, he's out there, 10th on his first lap, ran an 87. Dustin goes, fun fact, the banking in turns 1 and 2, crazy in real life. You don't feel that in the sim. A funny relationship to that. Watkins Glen going up through the S's in real life, completely different than what you feel in the sim. It's night and day. It doesn't even represent visually the same. Maybe that's just because the elevation changed, but it is crazy in comparison. Ranchak crosses the line, runs an 84, a little bit faster, but still sits P11. Jackson West, who was quick in practice, 39.19 his first lap, and he's not on pace right now, so that might be all for the 76. Raymond Hanneman from Fueled Up Motorsports, trying to beat a 32.17. Runs a 72, puts him 8th quick, 1 lap to go. Hanneman wraps it up, goes P5, 32.345 seconds. Jason Blaney, 4th quick. Matt Sisler now on the speedway with just over a minute left. .659. Sisler goes 8th quick with another lap to go. Meanwhile, Wesley Jeanette, pole time 32.178. Sisler goes 6th quick, 32.460 with 15 seconds left in the session. Looks like John Kelly, only driver not to take a time in this session, but that'll do it for qualifying. Want to take a quick peek here at the point standings coming into tonight. Brandon Moore with a 5-point advantage over Raymond Hanneman. Matt Sisler 3rd in those standings, then it's Jason Blaney and Jim Treat. Pretty tight points standings, at least in the top 4, but Jim Treat certainly not out of this. Neither is Johnny DePasquale. There's guys in here that could certainly make up the ground, but it's going to be tough here in the next couple of races. Wesley Jeanette, mathematically still possible, but we'll see how things play out. With that, though, let's get to it. Our starting grid. And we've got a little glitch. On the pole position with a lap time of 32.178 seconds, it's the number 74 from Fueled Up Motorsports, Wesley Jeanette. Outside front row, man, look at this. Top 5 all Fueled Up Motorsports. Dominant run here in qualifying. Ken Lowry missed it by 67 thousandths, but still a front row start. Row 2, it's Johnny DePasquale and Jason Blaney. Row 3 will be Raymond Hanneman and Matt Sisler. Row number 4, Austin Walton and Brandon Moore, another fueled-up driver. Row 5, Scott Stockel and Blake Hochschild. Starting in the 11th position, it'll be the 48 of Juan Linares. Tom Janikowski will start 12th. Jim Treat rolls off 13th. 14th starter Ben Smith. 15th goes to Jason Aranchak. 16th starter Nathan Line. Derek Buckaloo rolls off 17th. Corwin Marshall in the 4. He'll start in the 18th spot. Chris Pieria 19th. Darren Jones 20th. Jackson West 21st and did not take time in qualifying. The 44 of John Kelly will start 22nd and shotgun on the field. Your starting grid here from Worldwide Technology Raceway. Get this thing underway here momentarily. Matt Sisler in the chat says, going to need a lot of help and luck to survive this. Gateway and I do not get along. Pace car rolls off from the grid. One lap before we see the green flag. Take a look here at the race details again. 150 laps the distance, hence the Gateway 150. 65% fuel on board, 2 sets of tires over the wall. No fast repairs and 1 attempt, if needed, of a green-white checkered finish. Pace car rolls into pit lane as the field works off turn number 4. Wesley Jeanette, Ken Lowry bringing the field to the green flag, and there it waves. Green flag in the air. We're underway from Gateway. Lowry with the run through turns 1 and 2, gets to the gas, has to lift just a bit, opens the door now for Jeanette to go back around and maintain that top spot as they run down into turns 3 and 4. Jeanette with the lead, gets clear of Lowry, slides up the racetrack, just about a yard between the two. Big checkup from Lowry now, makes it a whole car length back to the 35 as they're off of turn number 4. Wesley Jeanette will lead lap number 1. Jeanette continues to lead, the advantage back to Lowry, about 3.5 tenths of a second, and it's Jason Blaney, Raymond Hanneman, Johnny DePasquale, your current top 5. Battle for position here. Jim Treat and Brandon Moore fighting it out. Moore in that number 3 machine. Now tucks in behind Jim Treat. Treat now up to 8th. We've seen this a lot this season. Don't sleep on the 3 of Brandon Moore. Just because he's shedding some track position and actual positions early on in this race means nothing. He'll likely be there as a contender at the end of this one. It's very well known to take care of the car, take care of the tires throughout the course of a run, and be there at the end. That's when it matters. Marshall battling with Derek Buckaloo. Marshall hanging on to the 14th position for the moment. Meanwhile, Ken Lowry has shed a few positions. He started outside pole, but has slipped now back to P4. Maybe some handling issues creeping in already here for the 35. Let's actually go on board with Ken Lowry. Take a look at the brake rotors on this race car as he gets into the corners. Let's see how it looks. Wide open, now under braking. You see they jump, they turn cherry red. That's how hot that brake rotor material is getting under braking into the corner. See it again here getting down to the next set of turns. Now on the brake, there it goes. It gets nice and bright all over again. That's the abuse that the braking systems on these race cars have to put up with. See it pretty well here from the tower cam as well. Keep an eye on the inside of that wheel in the front of the number 35 Lowry. You'll see it on Deep Pasquale's machine as well as they get into the corner. Now onto the brakes. There it goes. Cherry red for both of them. Wesley Jeanette continues to lead. Jason Blaney, teammate, has run him down. Now it's about a half second, a little bit less back to the 22. Another teammate, Fueled Up Motorsports driver Raymond Hanneman, runs third. Field very much getting separated here, only 10 laps in. Try to get a better look at it here. I don't. Spotter cam will really show it. You see there's Wesley Jeanette into turn 3. That's second, third, fourth, fifth. They're about a whole corner apart. We'll see it more so here when they come down the front stretch. Sisler just coming off of turn number 4. And it's Juan Linares, Jim Treat, Blake Hochschild. So Blake Hochschild already a full straightaway behind the race leader. So the top 10 separated by just under half a lap. Jeanette hanging on to the same advantage he's had over Blaney for a little while, but looks like Raymond Hanneman not going to wait here. He's right to the back bumper of Jason Blaney. Seems at the 85. Wants to see if he can try his hand at the race lead, but he's got to get clear of teammate Jason Blaney first. Deficit starting to shrink slightly here. Blaney running down Jeanette. Just a hair over 0.4 of a second. It was down to about 3.5 tenths there before they got into turn number 3, but Jeanette drives it a little bit deeper into the corner than Blaney. Looks like Jason will pick that up here on the straightaway and start to trim into that lead again. It's all about driving style. Some guys may back up their corner for favoring exit speed, but you see Jeanette driving it a little bit deeper into the corner to extend that lead off that second driver as he gets into the corner. Derek Buckaloo, Kerwin Marshall going at it again. He's for the 14th spot. Looks like Austin Walton's going to try and take advantage here if he finds an opportunity. Ooh, Hochschild, no. Jackson West way up the racetrack in front of Blake Hochschild. Pancakes the wall just a little bit. Maintains the position ahead of the 91. This is for 12th. Battle behind them continuing with Marshall and Buckaloo. They're side by side off of 2. Meanwhile, Brandon Moore has fallen 10 spots back to 18th. Again, don't be too concerned. She's going to ride this one out for this first fuel run. Jackson West has gotten his stuff together as he starts to put distance now on Blake Hochschild. He was right there after making some contact with the safer barrier. Now able to start driving away, and Hochschild continuing to shed positions as Buckaloo gets clear. Now Kerwin Marshall's going to attack. Marshall's gotten clear of Hochschild. Now Austin Walton going to try to do the same. Just got to wonder the scenario here. Hochschild was up a handful of spots for a little while, but now he's dropping like a rock. Maybe just pushed the car a little too hard too soon. Looking at fall off as far as the tires are concerned. We're looking at almost a full second loss here. 19 laps into this run. Comparative number, Wesley Jeanette, a 33.40 his last lap, a 32.51 being his fastest of the night so far. Dustin in the chat let us know 40 to 50 laps on a full tank of fuel here tonight. Back to the top 3, all fueled up motorsports, top 4 all fueled up motorsports, and all championship contenders, but Hanneman has gotten clear of Jason Blaney and now right to the back bumper just about of Wesley Jeanette. Throughout the course of this season, a very dominant group of race car drivers, but they've been all about the team win. If you got a guy running in second and there's another fueled up motorsports driver ahead, that trailing driver will typically just run in the tire tracks at the end rather than make it a major issue unless they just have that much faster cars. We now see Hanneman will get to the inside on Wesley Jeanette for the race lead here. 22 laps in here at Gateway. New leader Raymond Hanneman out in front. Outside pole sitter Ken Lowry back in the 5th position, making it a fueled up top 5 for the time being. Matt Sisler started 6th. He still runs in that position. Juan Linares starting to knock on the back door here to see if Sisler's going to let him go on by. And imagine that. Sounds like Matt Sisler's in fuel conservation mode yet again. Let's go on board and double check and take a listen to the 31 machine. That's a lot of fuel savings right there. So that's about 4 seconds of off throttle just on the entrance to turns 1 and 3 each. One. About 5.5 seconds there, so we'll call it 9 seconds per lap. When you're running 33-second laps, that is a considerable amount of time to be off the throttle with the car barely running, just sitting there at idle. Sisler may be able to stretch this quite a ways on the tank of gas. I hope we can run green to the end of this fuel run to find out how far Matt's really stretching out that fuel economy. Want to make note, too, here. Watch the front brakes on the 31 while he's in that fuel save mode compared to the 48 of Linares. On the brakes, Linares gets real bright red. Not so much for Matt Sisler. He's really letting that car coast into the corner, not using anywhere near as much brake pedal as the 48 is. And you see there with Sisler, has the drive off in doing so. That's open the door to Treat and Linares. They make a little bit of contact. Treat's going to go by the both of them. Meanwhile, we had a change for the lead. Jason Blaney went from third to first. Let's see if we can find a replay on this. So here we go, just a moment ago, and change for the lead. Hanneman had it at the time, but Blaney got past Jeanette, and now his teammate Hanneman, so moved the 22 to the race lead. Hanneman steps on a line here to see if he'll try and take this back from Blaney. These guys are going to have a little fun here. Blaney hangs on to it. Hanneman has the run off of 2 again, now dives into turn 1. Sorry, that was turn 4. Hanneman still not quite enough to get clear. Oh, but now he puts the hammer down. Exit of turn 2. He'll take the spot back, so move Raymond Hanneman back to the race lead. Blaney second, Jeanette still third. Johnny DePasquale fourth, Ken Lowry fifth. So Hanneman now putting distance on Jason Blaney. It's almost 3/4 of a second back to the 22. Wesley Jeanette now starting to run Jason back down. Remember, Wesley was leading for quite some time after putting the car on pole position here tonight. Sisler still pretty dedicated to the fuel save here in that number 31 3 Birdie's Camaro. Garrett Buckaloo in the number 81 takes it to the inside. He'll complete that pass. Gets clear down the back straightaway. Now Jason Aranchak will take a peek. Nothing doing just yet for the 84, but it won't be long as Sisler's up the racetrack, opens the door for Jason. See if Jason has enough of a run, but no, Sisler will slam the door again off turn number 4. Checking through the field on our championship contenders, Raymond Hanneman very comfortable out in front with the race lead. A half-second advantage back to Jason Blaney, who runs in the second position. Wesley Jeanette still in the title hunt in third. Johnny DePasquale, same story, but in the fourth position. Further down in the sixth spot, Jim Treat, the 367 eligible driver. Matt Sisler runs in the 10th position. Sisler down 4 spots, 6th place starting position tonight for Sisler. Austin Walton runs in the 11th spot. Further down the line in 14th, Blake Hochschild. Tom Janikowski runs 15th. Brandon Moore in the 18th position. And last but not least, Chris Pieria, 21st. While we run 38 laps complete in this first run, no cautions to speak of. Let's thank the sponsors that helped put this series on this year. ZeroX Media and Design, Snowbelt Industries, Admin Box, Youngblood Racing, and of course, Fueled Up Motorsports. .39 laps in here, just a matter of time before we start to see some pit stops. And we talked, Dustin Rogerson in the chat said 40 to 50 laps on a tank of fuel. We're just about there, at least on the early side of pit stops. We'll see if anybody tries to pull a little strategy here in the ZeroX Strategy Series. Hanneman has jumped out to 1.3 seconds advantage over Blaney now. I don't know if he just saved enough early on or maybe some lap traffic got involved there, but either way, a healthy margin for the 85. Hanneman running down Chris Pieria may put him down a lap here prior to pit stops. Pieria running in the 22nd position. Chris goes up the racetrack, just lets Hanneman go on by. No fight really there for a 13 machine. Now Ken Lowry, Johnny DePasquale trading positions. Lowry up to 4th now. Chris Peoria did come down into pit lane here for his scheduled stop. Lost the lap, immediately came to pit road. Likely going to be 4 tires and fuel for the ZeroX number 13. And Chris still sits there. It looks like fuel only for Chris Peoria. Short-term pain for long-term gain. He's going to save those 2 sets of tires over the wall for later on in the race. Hanneman has now put Darren Jones down a lap as Jackson West will come to pit lane. Right side goes in the air for Jackson West. So 4 tires and fuel for the FanDuel number 76 to Jackson West. And Jackson got dinged for something. Black flag for the 76. Too fast on entry, I believe, for Jackson West. He'll have to sit and pay this one. Meanwhile, Juan Linares will flash on by. He's come to pit lane for his scheduled stop. So green flag pit stops just getting underway here at Gateway. 46 laps now go up on the board. Jason Blaney will pull off. So does Ken Lowry. He'll come in just behind the 22. Now Derek Buckaloo, Austin Walton, Blake Hochschild. It has begun. Looks like a fuel-only stop for Jason Blaney. Still sitting in the pit box. 12.6 seconds. No jack underneath the 22. Now Wesley Jeanette on pit road. So right side tires going on the 74. Some differing strategies here amongst even the teammates. But a 4-tire stop for Wesley. He'll head back on out in 15.17 seconds. So we talked about the tire fall off. Now the leaders, Raymond Hanneman, 34 seconds his last lap. A 32.40 his fastest on the day. So we're talking a significant amount. 1.6 seconds of fall off at least for Hanneman. Those drivers that opted for fuel only are going to feel that in a bad way on this next fuel run. Johnny DePasquale on pit lane with Darren Jones. Johnny's going with tires as well. Haven't seen anybody opt for just right sides to this point. I can't imagine anybody would with how important the rubber is. And now Raymond Hanneman will pull off the speedway and head to pit lane as DePasquale is on his way out. Brandon Moore comes down as well. So to no one's surprise, with this cycle of pit stops, Matt Sisler has yet to come down and pit. We're at lap 50 here, the very tail end of the fuel window that we expected. See if Sisler comes down, and here he comes. Sisler pitting now from the race lead at the end of lap 50. Tried to stretch that out. If he does this and we stay green all the way to the end, he'll be 1 lap to the good, maybe 2 by the end of this race. Matt Sisler with 4 wins on the season comes in tonight with 3rd place in the standings. Four tires and fuel for Sisler, 15:43. Not a quick stop for the 31, but he'll head back out. Now the difference here is he's going to have the best set of tires on the racetrack. Now he was the one out there the longest, so he lost a lot of track position with those drivers that opted for fresh rubber. He's going to come out here in about the 14th position. Almost a lap behind the leaders, 22 seconds back. Again, we're running 32-second laps, so he's 2/3 of a lap behind right now. Now, that's all going to go away and not matter if he happens to make this one work, if it runs green all the way to the end. I don't know that everybody's going to be able to make it on just one more stop. It looks like Sisler's in a position where he could do just that, but those that came down at lap 49 or sooner, they may need a splash and go at some point. Through the pit cycle, Raymond Hanneman back out in front. Wesley Jeanette runs second. Jason Blaney, Johnny DePasquale, and Juan Linares, the top 5. We're going to step aside, get a side-by-side break out of the way. Stay with us. You won't miss a thing. We'll be right back.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens, UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws Late Model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Worldwide Technology Raceway, lap 60 of 150 have gone up on the board. Penultimate race of the ZeroX Strategy Series as we roll into Nashville next week. We've run 61 laps without a single caution to this point. Dustin in the chat making an interesting point. Is tonight the night we go caution-free? Well, now that you said it, probably not. You never talk about the no-hitter during the no-hitter. Well, we'll see what happens. Raymond Hanneman continues to lead, and he's enjoying a very healthy margin now, back to the 74. Teammate Wesley Jeanette at 3.7 seconds. Jeanette comfortably out in front of Jason Blaney by 5.9 seconds. So even the top three now separated by a very wide margin. Brandon Moore now in 17th. The first car one lap down. Did not have that on my bingo card at all. Looks like Brandon, though, in fuel save mode, much like Matt Sisler was. Dustin goes, I'm trying to keep my money. It's only $5, man. What's money if you don't have it, right? Those of you that may not know what we're talking about, wondering, hey, what are they talking about? Well, Dustin and I both offered to put up, I think it was $5 a piece if we run a caution-free race and just kind of randomly draw a driver after the race to get that $5 from each of us. So 2 drivers, effectively. I think that was the plan. Dustin will correct me if I'm wrong. My memory's not what it used to be, but just something fun to kind of motivate the guys to run the cleanest race possible. Obviously, nobody's out there. Well, I say almost nobody is out there trying to wreck anybody, but we want to run this thing green to checker. It really lets these drivers work their strategies that they come into it with. And obviously nobody likes to watch cars run around at highway speed. We want to see race cars go fast. Dustin says it was 10, so $10 it is. If it was 5, I was going to bump it to 10 anyway, so why not? Some action here in the middle of the pack. Sisler working his way through. Looks like Buckaloo may have had a moment there with the 44. I think that's John Kelly, a new name, at least for me. One car up the racetrack. I think that would have been Buckaloo again. Maybe he's trying to build a run or he just can't keep that right front planted. So Dustin says 10 each for 2 different drivers. I'm in. I trust you. I want to give a call to the 44 of John Kelly. Again, it's a relatively new name, at least for me, but he started pretty deep in the field, 22nd. He's up to 13th now. And we're not even quite halfway, so don't sleep on him. Got the blackout Red Bull scheme on that race car. I've got to wonder here with our leaders. Hanneman continues to run some decent laps. He's about a second plus off the fastest lap he's run. But he's still holding on to a 4.2 second advantage over Wesley Jeanette and almost 13 seconds back to third place Jason Blaney. I got to wonder if those 2 drivers, Jeanette and Blaney, have decided to change up some strategy here, maybe opt to go with fuel save, see if they can shorten this race up as far as the pit stop count is concerned. We know Matt Sisler has been on that strategy from the drop of the green flag. He's trying to shorten this up, so he's only going to make one more stop and call it a day. But again, you got to look at those drivers that came down lap 49 and sooner. They may need to make another stop, and here comes Blaney to pit lane. Dustin says, it makes it fun. I've been told this is one of the cleanest leagues in iRacing, and we take pride in that. Yes, it's It's something that I picked up on relatively early in the season with you guys. You run a good league in general, and for the most part, things are pretty clean. Some drivers have come and gone over the course of some of these races this year, but I think the good ones that really want to get out there and they want to race, but do it cleanly and do it the right way, and that's the guys that have stuck around, so that's good to see. Right side's in the air for Blaney. Remember, he did not take tires on that first pit stop, so he's kind of cut this down into a shorter stint, so to speak. Last pit stop, I believe, was lap 46 for Jason Blaney. Here we are at lap 70, so he's definitely cut this run down quite a bit. But now he knows he can run another 49, 50 laps, then come down, take his last set of tires, and have all that grip for that long or short run to the finish. So Blaney's out there thinking everybody has a different game plan. It's not the right one until you're the first car across the start-finish line at the end of this thing. So Blaney comes out in 17th. He did lose a lap, and he's got a few drivers ahead of him, Scott Stockel and Brandon Moore. He's going to need to get by if he wants that lucky dog. And Sandra Nielsen back in the chat says, keep it up, Johnny D. You're doing great. Speaking of Johnny D, running in the 4th position, also saving some fuel. That car barely at idle in the middle of the corner. Let's go on board with Johnny and take a listen. Yeah, Johnny's definitely out there saving gas. Unfortunately, I think a lot of these guys that are doing it now might have been a little too late to the party. Sisler started doing it, I think, after lap 1, which is what allowed him to go all the way to the end of lap 50 before he made his pit stop. So, as Dustin mentioned in the chat, I think Sisler is going to try and two-stop this race. The only driver out there, I think, in a position to do it. I think Raymond Hanneman could potentially do it. He went 49 laps on his first run. If he gets real aggressive with the fuel save, he's I don't know. It's gonna be close, but if he's a gambler, I say he does it. Everybody else, though, I think the next closest guy was Jason Aranchak, lap 47. Anybody else that went later outside of Matt Sisler is not a lead lap car right now, and that was still lap 47 in Darren Jones. Take a look at those strategies here, at least for the top 10 drivers. Hanneman went 49, as we talked about. He's 25 laps in, about halfway through this stint. Wesley Jeanette, 46. That one's going to be tough. That's going to require a stop and go at the end if we stay green. Couple of cautions, certainly going to throw a big curveball in this. Those drivers that might be on the edge, certainly going to be in a better position to make it. Johnny DePasquale, though, in that 4th spot. He went 48 laps, so not entirely out of the realm of possibility if they get real aggressive. As we rode on board with the 1, he was definitely trying to save as much as possible. See how it all plays out. It's all we can do. You know, I caught something there at the end. John Kelly in the 8th position. It says he's made 2 pit stops. Maybe he started from the pits and it's counting it as 2. Not sure. So Hanneman's lead shrinking just slightly now. It's under 4 seconds back to Wesley Jeanette. So Hanneman, just based on lap time alone, still running low 34s, a 34.01, and now runs a 33.90, so maybe a little bit quicker than he planned on. A lot of these guys will just go with that traditional lift and coast method, or some guys will just try to hit a specific lap time each and every lap, knowing that if I keep it at a 34 seconds or worse, I'll save X amount of fuel, and that should get me to the end. That's kind of an IndyCar or sports car strategy, but it can certainly work here on the ovals. Dustin goes, Kelly did start from the pits. He was eating dinner. Love it. 12 cars on the lead lap. Jason Aranchak, the last driver on the lead lap. And in 13th, Kerwin Marshall, the first driver, 1 lap down in the lucky dog position. Brandon Moore, 16th, 1 lap down. He's 4 positions down. He's got to make up if he wants to take advantage of a yellow if we get one. That's the key word there, if. Just a handful of laps past halfway here at Gateway. The Fueled Up Motorsports drivers dominating this one so far. Race recap-wise, we're looking 5 lead changes, but I believe, for the most part, it's all been Fueled Up Motorsports. I believe Matt Sisler may have led 1 or 2 laps during the pit cycle, but that was all. Everything else has been Fueled Up. Haven't got on board with Raymond Hanneman here tonight, so let's do just that. Take a listen. There it is. Hanneman checks up at the start-finish line and rolls it all the way down into 1. Very different method for the 85 compared to guys like Matt Sisler. Matt's letting off at his typical point, but he's clutching it and coasting it to the apex of the corner. It seems like Hanneman's at midway down the straightaway. Very interesting. He gets back to the gas a little bit sooner. And a lot of that might be letting the clutch out to try to get the race car to rotate, make it turn a little bit better, because the rear wheels kind of engage the gear set. Kind of helps rotate the rear of the race car. Oh, real loose off of turn number 2. Who was that? Didn't catch who it was. Might have saved it. All I could see was an orange car. Got very sideways. Might have been Jason Blaney. Indeed it was. Jason Blaney might have tank slapped it off turn number 2 just a moment ago. It appears he does have some damage on that machine. Right front fender turned in just a touch. So remember, Blaney kind of short pit here. He went about 30 or so laps after his first stop, which he did not take tires on. Kind of took the Goodyear Racing Eagles to the extent of their abilities. Came down at lap 70, I believe. No, it was lap 68. 4 tires and fuel, but unfortunately has had a moment just recently off turn number 2 where he got into the safer barrier. No caution for it as he continues to run. Meanwhile, Chris Pieria in pit lane, finishing up his stop. Hanneman's lap times with all that fuel save have actually come down a touch. Remember, he was in the low 34-second range. Now he's in the high 33s. 33.85 the last time by. We'll see where he clocks in this time. Goes to a 93. So fuel save a different way, but still able to lay down a quick lap time. It's 4.3 seconds now back to Wesley Jeanette, about a half second further down the road than he was prior. Very impressive. Seems like Jeanette's just running his race now. Not worried too much about fuel save. Maybe kind of gambling, hoping we catch a caution. But again, we've run this race past the halfway point without a single yellow. Awfully close just a few moments ago with Jason Blaney getting into the fence. So Blaney now in 14th. Second car one lap down. Next driver in line for him is Kerwin Marshall. He's not too far ahead. He's right there in front of Wesley Jeanette. Blaney can get past the 4, put him into the lucky dog position. Little scrape of the wall for Blaney again. So Blaney's there, right to the back bumper, just about here. Wesley Jeanette may follow the 74 on through. Oh, real wide there off turn 4. Thought he opened the wheel a little too soon. Maybe wanted that momentum down the front straightaway. It's a nose alongside Kerwin Marshall. Marshall tried to turn in, but to no avail. So Blaney will take the lucky dog position away from the 4. 61 laps to go. Marshall, though, battling back. Oh, they make contact. Marshall in the fence. I don't know if that was frustration or a side draft gone wrong or if he just tried to turn in and Blaney wasn't ready to do it. Either way, Marshall's going to come to pit lane. Damage on both front corners of the GZ Holdings Camaro of Kerwin Marshall as he rolls down pit lane. May have been a scheduled stop, but just a little bit of a whoopsie. It's Austin Walton on pit lane, Ben Smith, John Kelly, Jim Treat, Blake Hochschild, Jason Aranchak. Ken Lowry also on pit lane, but has a black flag as well. Maybe too fast entering for our pole sitter. Sorry, outside pole sitter. Marshall getting some damage fixed, so maybe some suspension damage on the left front with the contact with Jason Blaney. Expecting Hanneman to come down here in the next 5 to 7 laps. If his maximum fuel run is indeed 49 laps, we should see him here in the next 4 or so. Going to be interesting to watch, though, if Raymond can stretch it out for an extra lap. It may set him up to make it to the end if he can save fuel all the way to it. 6.8 seconds the advantage for Raymond right now, running back in the low 34-second range per lap. Raymond still letting off just past start-finish. And second place, Wesley Jeanette on pit lane. This may force Hanneman to come down. I don't know if it's worth it, though. You know Jeanette's going to be fast there on the newer tires, but he's in a position where he's going to need a splash and go at the end, coming down right now at lap 95. Hanneman, though he'll be slower on those old wore-out Goodyears compared to Wesley Jeanette when he comes back out, I don't think the difference is going to make up having to pit one less time. So top three now, Hanneman, DePasquale, and Sisler. Jason Blaney has cycled his way back up to fourth, though he is showing the lap down still. And green flag stops underway. Jeanette finishes up his pit stop 15 flat, 4 tires in Sunoco Racing fuel. So Hanneman now with a very wide margin, about a half lap back to second place, Johnny D. DePasquale pit last at lap 48, so he's getting ready to make his stop as well, unless he's done a masterful job saving fuel, which it seemed like he was last time we checked in on the one machine. Sisler back on the lead lap here. He runs third, but just about 10 or 12 car lengths ahead of the current race leader, Raymond Hanneman, who is getting ready for a stop himself. Might be coming down this time. No, not just yet. There's lap 99 for the 85 as Hochschild goes to the inside. Goes lap 100 up on the board here for Raymond Hanneman. At this point, if he makes it back around and completes his fuel stop, he's good to go to the end. This may have been the strategy right out of the gate for Raymond Hanneman. He did take that first set of tires at lap 49. Likely going to do the same here. If that's the case, if you see him bolt on 4, he is not planning to stop again unless absolutely necessary. Now the problem he'd have to worry about is the caution coming out could ruin his race because he would not have a set of tires, and there's some drivers out there that have them still. Jason Blaney being one of them. Meanwhile, speaking of Jason Blaney, he's going to try and get his lap back all by himself. Now it's getting tough for Hanneman. He stays out again. So we'll take a look here. Hanneman now 51 laps, going to put it 52 laps on the tank of fuel. Got to be running on fumes right now for the 85. I don't know if he was trying to come down and pit that last time, but there was a lot of traffic to his left elbow. And here he comes. Hanneman on pit lane, the end of lap 102, so he built himself a little bit of insurance as well. Meanwhile, Jason Blaney has taken over the second spot from Sisler. Hanneman had to back it up. A little bit of lost time, but he had room to play with. Not going to hurt him too much, I don't think. And there it is, 4 tires and fuel for Raymond Hanneman as Matt Sisler comes down to pit lane. So Blaney was a lap down, I think, in 15th, just about 15 laps ago, and now has the race lead, and he's off cycle. So his last pit stop, he'll be able to take tires. And he'll be able to run hard all the way to the end on that new set of Goodyears and plenty of fuel. So Blaney's certainly not out of this one yet. Sisler down and away, 14.78 to stop. So Matt's going to come back out about 11th. So now Blaney with 8.5 seconds over Raymond Hanneman. Hanneman has made his final pit stop of the day. However, Jason Blaney has not. So we'll have to see how this plays out for the 22. Go back on board of the brake rotor camera here on Jason Blaney again. It seems like he's really hustling the car right now. Lots of heat. In the stretch run to the finish, about 45 laps to go. Jason Blaney, your leader. Raymond Hanneman, second. Austin Walton, Wesley Jeanette, Derek Buckaloo, the top five. We're going to break away for our final side-by-side break. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Gateway, and you saw it here in the side-by-side, Jason Blaney and Ben Smith. I don't know how we didn't get a caution out of that, but both drivers managing to save the race cars. Wow. Unbelievable. Ben Smith will actually be coming to pit lane here. But through that exchange, Hanneman back out in front. 16 seconds now to Wesley Jeanette. Jason Blaney made his pit stop at lap 109, so we know for certain, even with green-white checkers, he's going to be making this one to the end without an issue. But will he have enough pace to run down Hanneman without a caution? Laps are starting to get shorter and shorter as far as our overall distance. They're winding down here. Hanneman with a very comfortable margin back to the 74. Frankly, if I'm Raymond Hanneman here, this is where you start to save. And I mean, not just fuel, but the tires as well. Because if the caution does come out, Blaney is in the lucky dog position. He'd be back on the lead lap, and he has the freshest tires out of anybody up in that top 7 right now. Matt Sisler came down at lap 102, so did Raymond Hanneman. They both took their tires, and actually everybody in the top 7 took on their last set. Hanneman is definitely out there saving fuel to stretch this all the way to the end. 2 stopping it for the 85. We know Matt Sisler is going to likely be trying the same. But Wesley Jeanette, it could be questionable. He's close. Johnny DePasquale, he pitted lap 100, so if he's careful, he should be fine as well. John Kelly, though, he pitted lap 90, so that would be a monumental task to make it to the end without a caution. Same for Jim Treat. Same for Blake Hochschild right in tow. Ken Lowry back on pit lane. So Lowry will make his final stop of the day. And he had a penalty to serve not that long ago, which made his day go from pretty decent to not so much. Hanneman now running down Matt Sisler. This will put Sisler, the first car, 1 lap down, which Jason Blaney does not want to see happen. I don't know if Hanneman kind of checks up a bit to try to help his teammate here be that lucky dog position if we were to get a caution. They tend to happen here later on in the races as everybody's trying to jockey for those final finishing positions. Mistakes happen, aggressive levels go up. Hanneman, I mean, he really can afford to shed some pace right now. He's 21 seconds ahead of DePasquale in second. A massive advantage here as we've run green all night long now with 30 laps to go. Sisler goes to the top here. He's going to let the leader, Hanneman, go by. Sisler will make short work of Kerwin Marshall now, just a few car lengths off the 31 of Sisler. So Blaney's going to quickly here go to the inside and get that lucky dog position back from Sisler. Hanneman with 3 wins on the season. Trying to make it 4. This could potentially move him up into the top spot in the point standings. We talked about it, how he was in those striking distance on Brandon Moore. Brandon Moore not having a very good night. Moore back in the 12th position. Hanneman out here tonight. Led 90 laps, certainly the most out of anybody. And if you remember, coming into this evening, Hanneman only a 5-point gap to the race leader, Brandon Moore, so likely going to take over that top spot as we roll into the final in Nashville next week. I got to give it to Jason Blaney, though. He has managed to really fight and claw his way back. He had a big moment off turn number 2 about midway through the race where we thought it was going to be our first caution. He got into the wall. You still see it. He's got some damage on the right front of that number 22, but he was down a lap. 3-4 positions behind the lucky dog. Never got the caution to get him back into that position to even worry about it. Fought his way through, clawed his way back to the front, has gotten his lap back on his own with 24 to go, finds himself here in the 6th position. I don't think he's got an opportunity at a win here unless we get a caution, and that really shakes things up. But Blaney out there trying to get every single point he can possibly gather before this one's over. Hanneman still with 24 seconds over Johnny DePasquale in the 2nd spot. And you want to talk about a quiet race? John Kelly, as Dustin mentioned, started in the pits because he was still eating dinner. Fought and clawed his way up into the top 3, and the caution comes out. Chris Pieria in trouble, facing the wrong direction here. At start-finish, and the perfect game goes away. This will change everything. Chris Pieria around here. It's an odd spot. It's right in the restart zone here on the front stretch. He'll get righted and straighten things back out, but nevertheless, the yellow flag falls on Gateway for the first time tonight. Let's take a look what happened to the 13. It's way up the racetrack. This is coming out of turn 4. Just loses it. Very similar to what we saw Jason Blaney do, but Blaney kept it going and clipped Scott Stockel just a bit. Yeah, a little tank slap there on exit. car shook on him, and up the racetrack he goes. Well, there you go, Dustin. We keep our money in our pocket. He makes a good point, though. 129 laps under green. And John Kelly's coming to pit road here. I'm real curious if he's got a set of tires sitting somewhere. John Kelly with a black flag. Wesley Jeanette with a black flag. I don't know if he missed the commitment cone, but opportunity likely going out the window for the 44. Tough break for John Kelly. Looks like it was fuel only for the 44. We talked his last pit stop was at lap 90. So it's Hanneman, Di Pasquale, Wesley Jeanette, but Jeanette's sitting on a black flag too. I'm not sure the reasons there. Did he catch something in pit lane as well? Maybe too fast exiting. I don't know the circumstances there with the 74. Dustin, if you know what the penalty is on the 74 and the 44, let me know. So just like that, the lights on the iRacing pace car extinguish themselves. We're ready to go racing again here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. 1 to go given to Raymond Hanneman and teammate Johnny Di Pasquale. Wesley Jeanette appears he'll be restarting in the 3rd position. Jason Blaney restarting 4th. Blake Hochschild 5th. John Kelly, even with the penalty, will restart in 6th. Matt Sisler 7th. Hochschild looks like he had a set of tires sitting, so he's on fresh rubber. Tough to say with John Kelly. I think that's the case. He spent 24.4 seconds in the pit stop. And Dustin says it was a passing under yellow penalty, which were all cleared. No positions actually gained. So new tires in 3rd place, 4th place. Wesley Jeanette, no. Blake Hochschild, new tires. John Kelly, new tires. Jason Blaney, unsure. It was 13 seconds in the pits. That might have just been damage repair, but here we go. Green flag back in the air. 18 laps to go from Gateways. Hanneman jumps out to the lead. Battle for second. Hochschild on the new tires, making his way towards the front. Gets clear of Johnny Di Pasquale with ease and now sets his sights on Raymond Hanneman. Di Pasquale going back to the bottom here, trying to see what he can do, but Hochschild's going to have the run on exit. Hochschild is fast. Last lap. Quarter second faster than Hanneman, and he makes a move down the back straightaway, looking for the race lead, trying to take it away from the 85. Side by side through turns 3 and 4. Hochschild may have the grip, and he does. On the bottom, the 91 to the lead for the first time tonight. Hochschild winless on the season so far, but still a championship contender. What a win would do for the 91 and his chances for a championship. With 15 laps to go, he draws a distance of half a second back to Raymond Hanneman.
Caution's out. Caution's out.
Yellow is out. Yellow is out. Not sure who we got going around here.
Correct, coming into pit road. Yes, I do, sir.
Nathan Line potentially in trouble. Looks like that is the case. Not 100% sure it was the 38, but let's take a look. Nope, was not Nathan Line. Dustin, if you know who it was that brought out the yellow, let me know. I'll see if I can find the replay on it. iRacing did not provide that data this time again. Potentially Ben Smith as he sits in pit lane. I don't think it was him. Nope. Not sure if this will turn into a quick yellow or not. So it was the 35 of Ken Lowry, it appears. Let's see what happened. Oh, gets into the back, a treat. And then just loses it on entry. I think if it weren't for the 48 of Linares coming in hot, this may have stayed green, but nevertheless, they threw the yellow. So caution number 2. And Lowry did a good job keeping that off the wall. So lights go out on the pace car. 1 to go signal given for Blake Hochschild and Raymond Hanneman. Hanneman's going to have to try this again here. Maybe get those tires cooled off a bit. I don't know if we've got any kind of equalization here between Hochschild and Hanneman. Remember, Blake came down just a handful of laps ago, lap 130, to take his last set of tires. Hanneman's pit stop was lap 102. So there's a significant tire discrepancy between our top 2 drivers. So we get set for a restart yet again here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Pace car makes a very sharp left turn into pit lane as we're set for the restart. Hochschild, Hanneman, front row. Deepest quality, Blaney in row 2. Green flag, back in the air. Oh, contact in the back, and one car goes around Jackson West. West unable to straighten it out, but we stay green. He'll have to figure this one out on his own without the benefit of the yellow. Off turn 4, Hochschild back out in front, extending his lead over Hanneman by 0.3, but Blaney now challenging his teammate for the second spot. Blaney's got fresher rubber than the 85 as well. He came down in pit prior to Hanneman, or after Hanneman, that is, and he'll take the second spot. Fueled Up Motorsports, Johnny DiPasquale will take third from Hanneman as Wesley Jeanette fires it down and makes some contact with the 85. A very aggressive move, teammate to teammate, the 74 and Hanneman trading blows into turn 3, and one car in the wall. It's Ken Lowry again. Well, cautions breed cautions, folks. That's what's happened here. Might be a day ender for the 35. Let's see what happened. Lowry to the bottom, drove it way deep. Dirt tracked it up the racetrack, but tank slaps like crazy. Trying to save it. Jim Treat gets collected. Up the racetrack goes Lowry into the safer barrier. This time he can't save that one. Less than 10 laps to go here from Worldwide Technology Raceway. Blake Hochschild still enjoying his race lead and tire advantage over the field. So Jason Blaney's going to restart to his outside. Jason's got much better tires underneath him than Raymond Hanneman did, but not quite as good as Hochschild. We'll see what happens between these two. We know Blaney has got a sniff of the race win. He's going to pull out all the stops here to try and take it away from Hochschild. Nine cars still on the lead lap. It's Blake Hochschild, Jason Blaney, Johnny DiPasquale, Raymond Hanneman, Wesley Jeanette, the top 5. John Kelly, who started deep in the field tonight, 6th. Matt Sisler, 7th. 9th is Austin Walton. Derek Buckaloo, 9th, the last car on the lead lap. Brandon Moore in 10th. He's 2 laps down. Would need another couple of cautions to get back onto the lead lap. But you know the driver, that number 3, is going to try and pick up as many positions as possible to try and limit the damage that Raymond Hanneman is going to inflict in this race as far as the point standings are concerned. I think Hanneman's opportunity at a win is just about through his fingertips. It's not completely gone to this point. Anything could happen. But as many positions as he can manage to get between himself and Brandon Moore, the better for his odds to get this points lead before we leave Gateway. Gamer981 in the chat got too close to the marbles. That is definitely a thing. Pace car comes to pit road, ready for the restart here at Gateway. Hochschild and Blaney on the front row.
Green flag.
Down into turns 1 and 2. Hochschild with a slight advantage. On corner exit, though, Blaney right there on the right side door. Hochschild gets clear, but just by an inch, crossing over. Blaney's looking to the inside in turn 3. Hochschild with the run up the racetrack. Drove it in a little bit too deep. Opens the door for the 22. Coming to 5 to go. Hochschild unable to stay there side by side. Switches lanes, looks back to the outside as they cross start finish. Down into turn 1, Blaney miraculously out in front here in the latter stages here at Gateway. Can Hochschild take it back? Blaney trying to break the draft down the back straightaway, continues to lead into 3 and 4. Johnny DePasquale now hunting Blake Hochschild. Hochschild ripping that rear view mirror off. He doesn't care what's behind him. He just wants the 22. Hochschild up the racetrack again, looking, trying to go the long way around on Jason Blaney. Right there, has the run, up the back bumper, crosses over, a block thrown by Blaney down the backstretch. Blaney gets the advantage now, 3.5 tenths back to Hochschild. Hochschild's going to have to regroup here, running out of opportunities as we've got 3 laps to go here from Worldwide Technology Raceway. Hochschild so good through 1 and 2. Has the run again down the backstretch. Crossover, switching lanes, couple of blocks by Blaney. Hochschild is there, drives it deep in the middle of 3 and 4. Coming down to the line, Hochschild still there. Have to outbrake him down into turn 1. Drives it way deep into 1. Watch the 22 go to the bottom. Nothing doing this. Hochschild goes back to the race lead with less than 2 laps to go. Oh, real loose off of turn 2. Blaney saves it. He's going to lose some ground. That's exactly what Hochschild wanted to see. Blake Hochschild off turn number 4, looking for the white flag. Final lap from Gateway. Blake Hochschild, a 10th place starting position. Played the strategy just right. Got the tires as late as he possibly could. Utilized those fresh tires to get back around Blaney after the 22 took the spot away. Hochschild leads him through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Looking for his first win of the season in the second to last race of the year, Blake Hochschild will come down to start finish to win the Gateway 150. Jason Blaney, a miraculous P2, a job well done by him. Johnny DePasquale, 3rd place, fueled up 2 and 3. Blake Hochschild spoiling it, picking up his first win this season. And the fireworks go off. We had our own fireworks in the last 10 laps of this one. Made it all worth it. Only led 10 laps tonight. As long as you lead the last one, it doesn't matter. Got to be a popular win in the ZeroX Strategy Series. Blake Hochschild picking up win number 1 this season. We're going to step aside here, get a break out of the way real quick. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens, UMP Modified and Silver Crown driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Worldwide Technology Raceway, the penultimate race of the ZeroX Strategies Series, the Gateway 150 in the books. And Blake Hochschild bringing home the ZeroX winner. First ZeroX driver to get a win this season. Blake Hochschild started 10th, drove it up to the race lead here on a tire strategy at the end. Let's get a word with the driver of the number 91 Precision Toyota Camry. Blake Hochschild, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got us?
Yes, sir. I got you. You got me?
Got you loud and clear. Blake, congratulations, man. A very impressive run here at the end. Worked some tire strategy in the closing laps of this one. A late pit stop for that last set of tires. You got the caution that nobody thought we were going to get. And then we had a couple there at the end, so you had to work for it as well. Jason Blaney there with a little bit fresher tires than Raymond Hanneman did, but you seem to have the best set out there. Was this part of the plan, or is this something you worked up throughout the course of the night?
Yeah, it was definitely, I'd say, a part of the plan, with a little bit of mix of some improvisation there. Improvisation. I don't know if I'm making up words or not. Just too excited from the win, I guess. But we started off saving tire really hard there at the start. Went about 90 laps on that first set. Then we came out on that second set, a tire, drove around for a little bit. We were trying to debate whether or not we wanted to go in and get that set of tire like we kind of were noticing some other people were doing. Half the team said, go ahead, go on in. The other half was still kind of up in the air. They started going in. I was like, hey, it did me well the other night in an official race staying out. So I decided to stay out, and luckily, like you said, that caution came, and the sigh of relief came over my eyes, and just more than happy.
7th place coming into the standings tonight, rolling into the last race of the season next week at Nashville. Quite a distance to overhaul to pick up a championship. Is there a mathematical possibility next week that you could take home a title?
Unfortunately, I don't never say never, but I don't think there is a mathematical way for me to get there. I think maybe, just maybe, if I get super lucky and none of the guys in front of me start the race and I happen to go on and win it, then maybe. But fortunately, no. I had to miss the last race due to some work complications, unfortunately, as well, so that didn't help out. But nonetheless, excited to at least just get the win.
Well, speaking of Nashville next week, another somewhat unique racetrack compared to a lot of the tracks that we run on this schedule. How do you prepare yourself for a place like Nashville Super Speedway, and does it kind of bode well to the strategy play that you tended to go with here tonight?
Yeah, I definitely say take away definitely from some Gateway. What else is there? It's definitely kind of a mix like a Darlington too. I'd say, saving your tires early is always a strategy. I'd say here, as long as we got those 2 tires, they decide to be nice to us, give us an extra set, then maybe you can kind of adjust your strategy there. I'd say definitely save your tires early, and then just try to make it to the end. That's the biggest thing here. That's my goal every week. Just try to make it to the end.
Well, Blake, a job well done here tonight. Always good to see a new winner in a season. You did it here just in the nick of time with just this race and next week left on the schedule. Who do you have to thank for helping you get here?
Oh, well, of course, thank ZeroX putting on the league, of course. Everybody here as well that drives in the league. Want to thank Precision Speed Solutions. If you need any open sets, go ahead and go to precisionsetups.gg. Use code HawShield10. You get some money off there, save some money. Other than that, I don't even know. I feel like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands.
So it's Haas Shield, not Haas Child.
Yeah, it is Haas Shield, but I don't correct anybody. I always just go by Haas Child.
You got to help me fix it, man, because I'll screw it up for life otherwise.
It's okay. Everybody else does.
Well, Blake, either way, congratulations, man. A well-earned victory here tonight. You didn't luck into it. You played the strategy, and you earned it there at the end, so job well done. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck in Nashville.
Hey, thank you so much.
Blake Hochschild. I already screwed it up. Congratulations. He's your winner here at Gateway tonight. Let's talk to Jason Blaney, who had another incredible run here tonight. Let's get a word of the driver of the number 22 admin box Ford Mustang, Jason Blaney at Steve with Track Limits. You got us?
I got you.
Jason, I know that one stung. You wanted that win, but at the same time, finishing second after the race that you had tonight, a masterful job to hang in there, not give up. You got into the wall late. I don't think you had help there, but it maybe got loose on you off of turn 2, smacked the wall, damaged the right front. But you hung in there, man. You were a lap down. You got that lucky dog. You got back on the lead lap, and you were battling there with Blake at the end for the win. Was there anything you could have done differently?
No, I'm genuinely surprised I even was able to get past him. I mean, I pit on, lap 107. He said he pit on lap 130 on his tires, so he had the advantage there. I was just happy to be able to even battle him. I mean, I told him when we were in the waiting room that I just threw the kitchen sink at him with crazy blocks and trying to do everything I could to keep him behind me, but all it took was me just driving in just a little bit deeper and opening up the bottom, and he took it. I'm genuinely just surprised that I'm in the podium tonight, just because of how off I was on fuel saving, and cautions fell my way to be able to give me a chance to battle. So that's really all I can be thankful for, but Blake had it for sure.
Well, job well done with a P2 finish here tonight at Gateway. Next week, final race of the season, Nashville Super Speedway. I know you've got what it takes to get it done, but can you get it done next week?
Oh, man, if there's one track that I feel like I might be able to, it's certainly Nashville. I mean, that track has always been favorable to me. I mean, I say it week in and week out. Obviously, tires are going to change a lot, just from the last time I ran it, but I'm typically pretty good there, so I think, I don't know if I have a chance at a championship, but I'd like to be able to end the season with a win. So I'm going to put my whole heart into it and see if I can get in the victory lane.
All right, Jason. Well, we're looking forward to it, man. Congrats again here. A strong run at the end. Second place finish. Who do you want to shout out to?
Yeah, I got all the guys that fueled up, especially Ray. He had one hell of a run tonight, especially on the fuel saving strategy side. If the cautions didn't happen, he did everything he could. So big shout out to him. All the guys just put in all the work there. The podium car tonight, admin box. I'd obviously like to also shout out New HD Media, Clark Heating and Cooling, Action Sports Canopies, Factory FX, Dubby, you in the booth, Steve, and obviously Dustin for, again, putting on the next season, which I'm super, super happy to see what goes on with that. But, yeah, just everyone.
All right, Jason. Well, congrats again, man. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week.
Thanks, man.
Jason Blaney, runner-up here at Gateway. We'll talk to teammate Johnny DePasquale. Started third, finished third. I guess you can't be too upset about that. He probably wanted to try and get more with a little bit of a tire advantage at the end, but let's get a word with the new HD radio driver of the number 1, Johnny DePasquale. Johnny, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir, Steve. I got you.
Johnny, congratulations, man. A job well done here tonight. I honestly didn't see a whole lot of fireworks out of you tonight, but you ran a smooth, consistent race, took care of the race car, and you were there with a chance at the end. Was there anything different aside from a brand new set of tires that could have made this one a little bit better than third place tonight?
I think maybe if Blake and Jason would have got maybe battling side by side, I was kind of envisioning them, driving off into turn 3 and running into each other and getting into the wall, and me maybe sneaking by him. I think that was my only chance. It's just Blake had the perfect strategy. He was banking on a caution there at the end, and I guarantee you for every lap he was running thinking just please caution, and it came out and it was just perfect for him. So I'm really happy for him. I was doing all I could, man. I was almost hitting the wall, crashing every lap, and I'm kind of watching Jim Treat as we go along here because me and him are kind of battling for the championship, and I saw he had some issues, and I was like, I wanted to, drive it as hard as I could, but I just knew I needed to, bring it back to the line, clean, and just happy I was able to get a good points night tonight, and yeah, happy for Jason, happy for Blake, and yeah, just really happy to get a good points night tonight for sure.
Speaking of points, you were 67 points off the race lead coming into tonight. Is there still a chance for a title next week at Nashville?
I don't know. I'm happy. Every time I worry that much about points, I end up, getting into an issue. If you do what you need to do and you just focus on what you got to do, the points will handle themselves. And I had some issues earlier in the playoffs here where I kind of had some lackluster finishes and kind of put me in a bad spot here. But, you never know. You never know what's going to happen off of turn 2 on lap 1. You never know what can happen. I'm just going to try to give it my all and, try to bring another win for Fueled Up home.
Certainly all you can do. Johnny, a job well done here tonight. Congratulations on third place. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Want to thank you, Steve, and everybody at Track Limits. You guys are second to none, and we're so fortunate to have you guys here. And everybody at ZeroX Media, Dustin, all the admins for putting this up every week, and all the guys at Fueled Up, all the sponsors, Admin Box, Clark Heating and Cooling, New HD Media, Action Sports Canopies, Factory FX, all my teammates at Fueled Up. They make me bring my A game every single week, and I'm just very, very fortunate to be a part of everybody over at Fueled Up, and all my family, my wife that watches every single week, and that's hopefully we can finish off the season next week with a bang.
All right, Johnny. Well, job well done. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck in Nashville.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Johnny DePasquale, third place here at Gateway. That'll do it for the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. Let's get to our race results. Of course, we talked to Blake Hosschild and Jason Blaney and Johnny DePasquale. Those were your top 3. Raymond Hanneman came home in the 4th spot. Wesley Jeanette was 5th. Going back to Hanneman, that was a tough break for the 85 tonight. He really thought he had that one in the bag, and frankly, without the cautions, absolutely did. He had almost a lap on the field, and it all went away with the yellow. So Wesley Jeanette 5th. John Kelly from deep in the field finishes in the 6th spot. He gained 16 positions, started 22nd. Matt Sisler tried to work the strategy on a place that he's just not a fan of. He finishes 7th. Austin Walton was 8th. Derek Buckaloo 9th. Brandon Moore came home in the 10th spot. Jason Aranchak was 11th. Tom Janikowski 12th. Jackson West finishes in the 13th spot. Juan Linares was 14th. Scott Stockel 15th. Kerwin Marshall 16th. 17th went to Darren Jones. 18th was Nathan Line. Chris Pieria came home in the 19th spot. 20th, Jim Treat. Ken Lowry, solid qualifying effort, not the greatest finish. 21st, second to last for Lowry. And last but not least, 18 laps down in 22nd, was the 11 of Ben Smith. That's going to do it for us here at Track Limits Network. Congratulations again to Blake Hosschild, picking up the win, his first of the season and the first for ZeroX. Again, well-earned, worked the strategy. That's the name of the series, folks. And then held off those guys with just the pace and some tires at the end. So, great finish to this one here at Gateway Worldwide Technology Raceway. One more to go. Nashville Super Speedway next week, same time, same channel at Track Limits Network. Just be here by about 8:15 at the latest. You won't miss a minute of the action. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Thanks for everybody in the stream chat. Really appreciate that, of course. We'll see you at the next one. Thanks for watching.